What's up, guys? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No.
Cool. Check it out. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, bet. It's gonna wait right until 6 so we can start. But how many of you guys were in last week? I think I see. I think most of you guys are new.
Yeah, this is my first time being here.
First time. Cool.
It's my first time as well.
Where are you based out of, Jorge?
Houston, Texas.
Oh, Houston. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna run through the first part just kind of quickly because I covered it last week, but it's pretty basic, the first part. Um, Hopefully you guys like it. I think this is the first time that uh, I've done anything like this, really. And I'm using my brother's account because mine was like freaked out or something. But yeah, last week the feedback was pretty good on the intro part. So I'll run through it quickly this time, and then we'll move into the actual lesson today. But yeah, so the point of these, you know, really the point of HFX is really to build a group of Latinos that we're kind of honored the same kind of journey. You guys probably watched a few of my TikToks. So I was born in Mexico. I came here to Dallas when I was 5, almost 6, and really all through high school, I just kind of didn't do that great, hanging around the wrong people. But I always had kind of like an entrepreneurial. I guess I like to sell stuff. I started selling Jordans. I would sell everything really. When I graduated high school, I didn't know really what I wanted to do just because I didn't like school. So I didn't know if I wanted to go to college. Most of my friends really didn't go to college. But I knew that I wanted to, do something relating to business. I just, being an immigrant, you don't have like a rich uncle or like even your dad that you can turn to and be like, hey, help me start a business. So really the point of FX is for all of us to learn together because I still consider myself a beginner in business and in finance. So for all of us to learn together and to, the different decisions, if one of you guys is starting a business, well, we can give each other support. But yeah, so let's talk about the the reality. How much money do you guys think on average like you need just to survive right now? So say you were living on your own, or if you are living on your own, about how much money do you think you need just for rent, food, just to kind of keep the lights on? Does anybody want to take a guess?
I feel like it depends on the state, but for example, I live in Miami. I would definitely say, like on a yearly basis, is that what you mean?
Yeah, just on a yearly basis. Yeah.
Definitely like alone, living alone, 25, 30 grand a year, at least minimum.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, alone you could probably make it by with 30. I live in Dallas, and when I was alone, and I'm pretty careful with my money. I was spending maybe 50, 55. So that's about, anywhere between 30 to 50,000, and that's just by yourself. Now like once you start thinking, like say you get married and you have children, well that number goes up like by a ton. And second question is for most of us, we'd like to not necessarily stop working because I don't really think I want to retire. But at some point, we don't want to, or we want to leave like a job. You don't want to work for somebody else forever. So you got to ask yourself, well, how many years could I continue working in my 9 to 5 job? Personally, when I graduated, I got a finance degree and I started working in consulting. So like corporate, dude, and I like fucking hated it. Like every single day, I was just like, man, this sucks. I need to get out of here. Um, and to think like, most of us want to work like that or do that for 20, 30, or 40 years. I mean, it just sounds miserable. So the point of this exercise here is that, we're going to need money to survive regardless. And in 20 to 30 years from now, right now we need 30 to 50,000 because of inflation. So everything gets more expensive every single year. That number is going to be up to about 80,000 a year to 100,000 a year just to keep the lifestyle that we're living now. And so, picture us like ya viejitos, 50, 60 years old. We're going to need to be generating 60, 80, $100,000 a year in income to survive. And that's the reality. So we can't escape that. It's just something that that wanted to highlight the problem. So that's about how much money you'll need to survive in 20 years or 30 years. So if you're ever thinking about leaving your job, you're going to need to figure out a way to make that either through a business or through investments. So let's move into the mentality. So, growing up, I would hear my parents, or specifically, my mom would say all the time, los ricos tienen su diploma, acaba tus estudios, si no vas a andar bien jodido. That's one thing I would hear all the time. Really, the reality is that even after I got my degree, it's not gonna make you financially free. So just a piece of paper hanging in your room. I mean, your parents are gonna be proud, and it is something to be proud of. But it's not going to make you rich, and it's not really. I mean, even with my finance degree, it didn't teach me that much about money or about business. Second thing I would hear a lot of was like, búscate un buen trabajo. Los que trabajan en oficina están lavando el dinero. They kind of this thought that, in construction, you can't make that much money. The reality here is, I worked in corporate and office stuff, and your job shouldn't be the only way that you bring in money. See, nowadays everything is so expensive that if you have a family, even if you have a corporate job making like what 85, 80,000 a year, that's really just enough to feed your family, maybe save a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to, get out of the hole. Third thing I would hear a lot was, yo me chingo todos los días, por eso gasto en lo que quiero. So just kind of like bad administration of money. Just if I got it, I'm gonna spend it. And I mean, when I was in high school, I remember like everything I would save up, it was to spend it on Jordans, to spend it on clothes, maybe on a car. So just this mentality of like that's the main use of money is just spending it. And then, growing up, my parents always had a lot of not big arguments, but there was always arguments about money. No, ahorita no hay dinero, no traigo, ando bien jodido. Whenever the bills would come in the mail, there was just this like nervous feeling in the house because you knew that, either there was going to be an argument or, somebody was going to, not feel well about that. So being afraid of money, when we're growing up and money is just a subject that's like, there's not enough of it, so everything is tense. You feel like there's not enough. It stops you later in life from taking risks. So I'm not sure if any one of you guys wants to share an example, or if you guys can relate to, or if you guys grew up hearing those kinds of things in your household.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going on to the next one. So that's really the point of FX is just to address those kinds of problems. I'm not sure who's on speaker. Hold on. Okay, hear some background noise. Um. Okay. So let me just skip to the goal. You guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
All right, cool, cool. So really, the goal is to build a community, is to just have an active place where we can answer each other's questions about money, about investing, and in the future, because right now I think there's like 200 members who have officially signed up, and the average age is 25, so it's a lot of young people. So in the future, the goal would be, that we stay in HFX, and in the future, when we have savings and money, well, we can invest together. So if there's a lot of, say, there's 50 members in Dallas, that group alone can put money together and buy a restaurant or buy a business. Because one of the main things that stops us as Latinos is that, if I wanted to go out and put $500,000 down to buy a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A, I can't do that by myself because I don't have access to all that money. And banks, if you look at the numbers, banks lend less to Latinos for business.
Hmm.
So the long-term vision and the long-term goal of the group is that we learn about money, learn how to invest, and at a certain point, we can use our money to invest together. So now let's move on to the kind of like the first lesson. The first lesson is really just about, what is money? So if we go back just like thousands of years, money is not a new thing. Money's been used forever. So the Aztecs in Mexico, they actually used cocoa beans. So they didn't have paper money like we do, but they carried around these beans. Now, say for example, they wanted to pay for some corn to make some tortillas. Well, it's easy to carry around a little bit of beans and exchange that. But what if they wanted to buy a donkey? Well, how many beans would that be? And so in modern times, we've created ways for money to be more easily moved around. You could say, for example, this Aztec man, he wants to buy this donkey, and he has to like move around un chingo de like cocoa beans, just like buckets and buckets of it. It doesn't work that well. So in modern times, we've gotten to the point where money is really literally just a number in your app. So it's something that we can Zelle each other immediately. And in reality, money comes down to, it's a way for us to trade things with each other. So it's a way for, if I want something, then I can acquire it. And I don't have to haul around beans or gold coins anymore. Right now, it's just straight numbers. But money by nature, so if you think about it, in the Aztec times, the beans were valuable. So the cocoa beans themselves were actually valuable. So money by nature, it should be backed by some kind of underlying value. So yeah, that 82K, that is a number, but in the past, when in the United States money was backed by gold, when they got off the gold standard, so money's not backed by gold anymore, this in reality is just a number. So why does it work? Well, think about when you're driving down the street and all the cars kind of drive on the right side of the street, right? We all drive on the right side. I mean, why? It's just because we all agreed that, yeah, this is the right side to drive on. And money's the same way. It works because we all agree that it has value. Because in reality, the US dollar right now is not backed on gold anymore. But it still works as a medium of exchange because of just our agreement that, it's the value. So that is kind of what money is. And this is just to kind of give you an idea that money is not new. Money's been around forever. It's been used forever. But what's our main use of money? Like as Latinos, our number one main use of money is to spend it. So I remember growing up on Saturdays, and this was just not even my own family, my cousins too. One of our main hobbies, oh, vámonos al mall. Let's go to the mall. So we treat spending as a hobby. Or second one, this is my money. Yo me chingo, por eso gasto dinero como quiero. So we're treating spending as like it's my right. This is my money. I got to spend it however I want to. Or number three, estoy haciendo una tanda. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with tandas, but a tanda is like it's kind of a thing where like everybody puts money in and then they take it out kind of in turns. Estoy haciendo una tanda para comprarme una lavadora o comprarme una cama. So spending is like really like our only plan. So as soon as you have extra money, you want to spend it. Number four, it's about cosas de marca, comprar puro de marca. So this goes back to, we treat spending as like, if I'm wearing Gucci, if I'm wearing Louis, if I'm wearing this and that, then that must mean that I'm a better person. And number five, I would hear this a lot too. So this is from my dad. The yo no presto. Yo no presto just means no lo presto. So kind of like a greediness aspect to the money. So this is kind of like growing up, at least for me, it created like my perspective on what money is. And it's really just kind of like a consumer perspective. So when I was 18, 19, I graduated high school and started working. My only like way to use money for me was just to spend it. Like my bank account would always end up back at zero because I would spend everything.
Yep.
But there's a second use of money, and this is like the use that we need to learn, and this is for creating and for investing. So if you go back to the Aztec times, people were trading beans to get something in return. Just like we use money to buy goods and services. So if you want to be a creator, you want to be an investor, then your purpose of money, and when you see money in your bank account, it should be for investing in yourself, building businesses. And when you think of business, it's really just like, for example, my granite business. All it does is it puts granite in people's kitchens. It's that simple. So it's how do you provide a service? How do you build a business that's going to solve a problem? Because at the end of the day, you're going to make more money if you solve more problems for people. If you compare this kind of mentality to the consumer, building a business or investing, it takes a lot of work and it takes time. I mean, you do have some people that do it instantly, like they get rich very fast. But for the most part, building a business or even learning to invest, it takes time. So it needs to be something that requires your effort. But, if I go buy a new car, that's instant. So the consumer mind, if you're thinking like a consumer, like a spender, you want to get things very fast. And that's why you see a lot of people falling for these like courses where it's like, oh, just buy this course. It's quick. Buy this Amazon course, buy this, whatever. If you learn these like 5 steps, you're going to like get rich all of a sudden. Because it's very consumer like. It's easy to buy something, to go on a website and then just check through and buy. But, if you tell someone the reality, like, hey, if you want to be wealthy and if you want to be financially secure and then you want to help your parents out, help your family, it's going to take a lifetime of work. So it's going to take 10 years, 20 years of you being committed to your money. Then all of a sudden it's really not that fun anymore because it doesn't make you feel good. So, being more process oriented. So, building a business is a process, investing is a process, versus transaction oriented. So if I go to the store and I transact, it's instant. I just buy. It's also why like buying stocks it's a very easy way to get into finances just because, a lot of this you go on Fidelity or Vanguard or Robinhood. And I mean, it literally could take you 5 minutes to buy a stock. And it makes you feel like you're investing. But in reality, you didn't add much value, to the world really. So, being an investor is about the long term. So it's about, right now I'm 25. Maybe a lot of you guys are younger than that, or some of you guys might be older. But it's about like in 10 years, what are your finances going to look like? And that's a process that you need to be committed to. It's not really something that I can just jump on an app and boom, all my problems are solved. So that's the reality. So if you want more money, you have to use your time and your work to provide more value. So, time, we have a lot of time. We all have jobs or a way that we produce money, and we all produce some type of value. Even if you're a waiter or even if you're like a clerk or anything, you're providing value to someone, like you're helping someone out. And based on that value, that kind of defines your income, how much money you make. On the fifth one right here, we're gonna get into this more of this next week. But if you take your income and spend it all, at the end of the year you're at zero. You're not any richer. So even if you're making $200,000 a year, and you went and you bought an Escalade and you went and bought a brand new home, and you look fancy, you look rich. If at the end of that year your bank account is at zero again, you're still not any wealthier. So, it's surplus is everything. Like how much money you made, how much you spent, how much of that you could save and invest. That's the difference between how much you make and you spend. So we're gonna get more into that next week, but I don't want to make these lessons too long, and I want to make them a little interactive. So yeah, that's it for this week, guys. Um, I kind of wanted to go through and allow some of you guys to introduce yourselves if you guys are up for it. So if anybody wants to introduce themselves, just hop on.
Hello, my name is Maria. I hope everyone had a great day. I'm a 20-year-old, and at the moment I'm attending a community college while working a full-time job. I've been learning how to invest. I haven't invested yet, but I've been trying to through like YouTube channels and articles, and I really want to set myself to be financially free and help others learn how to be financially free as well.
Cool. Where are you from, Maria?
I'm from Houston, Texas.
Oh, Houston too.
Mhm.
Yeah. What are you studying?
Right now, I got a business associates, but my goal is to get a management information systems degree, which is a half technology degree and a half business degree.
Yeah. And so you've been kind of on YouTube trying to figure out like stocks and everything.
Yes, I watched like Graham Stephan and other channels, and I read books like Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah. What's I guess for you, like, what was your motivation like growing up? Were you like in a family where there was a lot of money, or are you trying to help your parents and stuff?
Help my parents, and yes, because we've been through a lot of struggles, and then I don't know. I read books, and then I discovered like channels, and that's how I wanted. Like my motivation was really my family.
Yeah. That's what's up. Anybody or Maria, did you have any feedback or like questions on today's lesson?
No, I actually enjoy it, and I'm actually happy to be part of HFX because um I can relate to you, and it just makes me feel like yeah, I can relate that there's other pages, but I just feel like I can't build that relationship where like someone can connect with me, and I really enjoy this group because I feel like there's others like me and understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to be here.
Cool. Anybody else have like any feedback or anything they want to share? Hey, dude, XO Mike, how's your painting company going, man?
One question: how did you decide what type of business to open up?
Oh yeah. So my dad, he had been cutting. I mean, he had been working for somebody else for a long time, just doing the granite stuff. And sometimes I would help him out in the summers to make some extra money when I wasn't. Normally, I was working roofing with my uncle, though. And so when I graduated high school, I started community college, and I was working at a tire shop. And one day I just got. I mean, I really got fed up at the tire shop. It was like I'd been working there maybe like 6 weeks. I remember the first check I got. It was like $600 for a full 2 weeks of like. I'm talking. I was changing oils. It was hot, man. It was the summer, and I decided, man, no, this is not good. So I left the tire shop, and all through high school, I was always just selling different kind of stuff to just to make some extra money for mainly for clothes, stuff like that in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So when I graduated and I quit the tire shop, I told my dad, hey, like if I sell the granite, the kitchens, will you cut them for me, and then we can install them and split the profits. And it took me a while to convince him, but he said, I mean, yeah, I guess if you wanna try to sell them, then I guess I could find a way to cut them and then we can split it. So that's how I started. It was just mainly the easiest, like it was the easiest thing for me to sell because I didn't have anything else really like that I could sell.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because one of my goals is to open up a business because my father, he's a salesman, but he's a salesman for the logistic industry, so he's like 18 wheelers and stuff. And we kind of want to open a business where like own a small company, and that's another like thing I'm trying to research and learn about. So I like to listen to how other people started their own businesses and the steps that they did.
Yeah, I would say I mean for any of you guys that are like interested in business, I would say the best way to learn is just to start trying to sell something. So if you already have something that you can make, like the granite countertops was something that I could get made, the best way is just to try to start. So when I started, I didn't have a business plan. I didn't even have an LLC. Like for the first year, I would take all the payments cash. But if you start and you're good at getting it sold, and depending on the type of business, if you build the right systems, so your systems is like your website, your payment processing system, you put everything in its place, then over time you'll get better at getting stuff sold and getting it installed. And then you could start thinking about like your accounting, your maybe a business plan. But in the beginning, really, it's just about like don't give a lot of pressure to yourself. Just try to sell one thing, and then try to see if you can sell two. And I mean, right now for the granite for the kitchens themselves, I think we sell close to maybe like 300 kitchens a year, something like that. So just,
Congratulations, that's good to hear.
Nerdy? Sorry, I couldn't talk at the time.
yeah, man, what's up?
What were you asking, Nerdy?
Oh, I was saying, how's your painting business going?
We got the LLC set up, and hey, we want to go open up the bank account for the business. And right now, we're just waiting to get the painting and decorating license. Yeah,
Cool.
and we also got some custom design shirts as well.
Cool. Do you know how you're gonna get the work sold? Are you going more for residential or like commercial?
Trying to go for both. It doesn't really matter. Yeah,
And you say it's you, your brother, and your dad, right?
correct.
How do you guys decide to jump in and start your own thing?
We've always gotten like one or two jobs like a month. But right now we bought an apartment complex, so we don't have to pay rent anymore. So we finally decided, we can actually try to make it into a business.
Cool, man. Yeah, man. If you have any questions, like in terms of like if you got your bank account set up and everything, um, do you know like do you have a way or do you have a plan in terms of the way you're gonna start selling them?
And that's the thing. We're trying to find a way to get clients because we really don't have a name for ourselves. We don't have too many pictures of houses we've done. So that's our biggest
Biggest
problem
thing.
right now.
Okay, so I'm going to. I'll just share kind of like how we built up the granite stuff, and maybe there's
Hmm.
something there you could take. So when I started in the beginning, I was just going door to door, which was not that smart because you can knock on 100 doors and like maybe one person wants an estimate, and then like maybe that's a 50% chance that you'll sell something. After that, once I started selling a little more work, so I started posting on all the different Facebook pages and Craigslist. And that's a really good way to start because it's free. And you'll have people, hitting you up for residential jobs. But then aside from that, if you get everything professional, like if you have your LLC, your bank account and everything, make sure you have like your insurance, like general liability insurance. It's cheap. Like we pay like 200 something dollars a month, but it covers up to like $2 million of damages. So if you have your insurance set up, I would start going to all the new construction. Like I'm not sure if you've seen wherever they're building new homes, and they have these little like mobile homes where the GC stays.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
right now, where we're at, Las Vegas, it's all usually by big companies, so they contract other big companies, so like we can't compete against them.
Don't yeah man, don't worry about it, man, because when I started, I mean, it was similar to the door to door stuff. Like I would go to 10 of those and maybe one GC would give me like a chance to start bidding. So I'd be like, "Oh yeah, man, send me your bid." And then that's the
Yeah.
way you can land big contracts.
Hmm. Like, cause over here in Las Vegas, they don't have any small areas. Most of them are like 20 houses and above, so they need like big companies. Like, cause we used to work for a company called Chicago, and they work with Lennar. Lennar is the biggest contractor here,
Yeah.
and they give most of the jobs to Chicago. So.
Okay. So if you want to build up your name, another way to do it is on the residential side. What I started kind of investing kind of heavily into was making sure my website is like really good. And then I started doing SEO, so search engine optimization. That has been the type of marketing, at least for us, that has gotten us the most clients. So don't do. I wouldn't recommend Google Ads, dude, because I've spent I think about $40,000 in Google Ads, and they're not that profitable. But if you find a good person to do SEO, so you build a good website, you do SEO, so you start showing up locally. So if somebody searches up painting in Las Vegas, and then you pop up in Google, then you'll start getting jobs that way too. But I mean, do that along with the Facebook and Craigslist posting, and for sure, I can almost guarantee that you'll get work. And also, once you have your Google page set up, like make sure you're on Google, then let us know. That way, we can like post a review for your company. Because if you have 20 or 30 reviews, it'll give you a big boost.
You know anybody who can set up a website or do all of that you're talking about?
Yeah, dude, I'll link you up with someone.
Hmm.
That way you can get that going. But for sure, you'll need a website for sure, man.
I hop in on this real quick.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so actually, me and my buddy are trying to create a website business, and if you want, we can create one for you for free. We're just trying to build up our portfolio, so it'll be free of charge. I guess the only thing you really have to pay is a domain. we can create it, and then we'll share it to you, see how you like it, and then from there we can edit it for or however you want it to look like.
There you go.
Yeah, DM, and then I'll respond to you.
And
I can see who's
Yeah.
talking.
yeah, and I think what I'm gonna do, like on the Hefx website, is create a page where all of us who are starting or trying to start any kind of business, we can have a page where like it's like your name and then your business, whatever like website. That way, like at a certain point, if we want to just do business with each other, like if we know you do websites and other people need work, then they can come to you. So, and on the Hefx site, I think I'll probably put a page like that up or something. But thanks for the shout out, man. Website web development is much needed, bro.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've been trying to start it up, but he's been procrastinating the most on it.
Yeah.
So it's just been more of a hassle of trying to get clients at the moment, and we're mostly focusing on Latino businesses since they're the ones that really have the struggle with communication with with the more uh, website design business because they're mostly all gringo based.
Yeah, yeah. But how'd you guys start,
So
man?
we just want to help out the Latino base since we won't charge as much. And so essentially, he's the one that he went to college for computer science, and he didn't go straight to the workforce. He didn't like the idea of working for a certain amount of salary, like you said. And so he did one website for a landscaper. Then it was maybe earlier this year. He asked me if I could help him out. His partner was like, "Yeah." So from there on out, we've been building our website, trying to go back and forth with editing it, trying to make sure everything's good
Yeah.
and ready. And then from there on out, we plan on making business cards, going to the Bulga, just getting our name out to the Latino community.
Cool. And so you guys are gonna be development like full stack? Is it like mainly on WordPress or something?
Uh, yeah, it's on. I think he has it on Bluehost. Bluehost and WordPress. So yeah.
Okay. And how about like graphic design and that kind of stuff, or is it just gonna be like web development?
So right now we're trying to find someone who is willing to work with us for the graphic design. I mean, if you know anyone, that'd be great. But so far, we haven't really found anyone on that. But we've been using Fiverr. Well, he used Fiverr, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
to get some logos created. Nothing too expensive. That's later on the path. What we want to do is get maybe a studio or location. Get more workers, a graphic designer, all this, but mostly hire Latinos if possible, because give them an opportunity, show their skills.
Yeah, that's nuts what's up, man. Look into cause I got a buddy in Austin, Texas, and he has a it's like a web development business, and he does a lot of website design and like things for like schools, hospitals. But
Mm.
so look into RFPs. They're called RFPs. It's request for proposals. I'm not really sure exactly the process on that because I've never done it, but pretty much these like government businesses, they'll put out this work like, hey, we need this done to our website. And then you can submit a bid if you're like a developer because he says he gets a lot of good work on that side. Like bigger websites. Yeah, like bigger websites. I think he does like he was telling me that one website he developed for a school, like a university, it was like 50, I think like 50 grand or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we're not that professional yet, but that's something I'll take a look at.
Yeah, man, down the pipe if like once you guys feel comfortable, look into that.
Appreciate that.
I have a question. Has anybody done like wholesaling homes or know about that?
Yeah, actually, I do too.
Are you doing?
I've tried to get into it. I know the steps and process. I actually have a lot of friends over here. I'm from North Carolina, and there's these three guys. I'm not sure you might have seen them on TikTok. They're called the Donuts Brothers, and they dealt with wholesaling, and now they're on to family complexes. Essentially, the one thing that I'm stuck with the wholesaling part is just the transactional part with the money. I've seen videos where they say like you do need money to fund it, and others say you really don't. You just need a third party, and as soon as that third party comes in, and you're all good to go. So it's just I haven't had time to really contact them to ask them more those specific type of questions. But it's I heard it's a pretty good career. I've actually got one house in June that the guy was actually willing to sell, but I kind of flaked because I didn't want to get into any legal bind.
Yeah, I've been trying to look into it, but it's like the legal side where it's kind of like the little details, and
Mm-hmm.
and I know you kind of need like a mentor to like um guide you through that, but I haven't been able like to find one to ask those type of questions.
Yeah, it's difficult coming across the mentors. I noticed that, and they did recommend me some courses, but that's they told me they spent like maybe 2 or 3 grand. I was like, I don't have that type of money.
Yeah, and like the resources are so limited out there. So,
Mm.
but thank you for your input.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Also, so right now I'm still getting the studio set up. But what I'm going to do. So I think one of the main struggles for us is mentors. So like older Latinos who know what they're talking about, pretty much. Um, what I'm going to do is on the YouTube channel. I want to see what you guys think about this. So if I find older Latinos like who've been successful in business, like, who can prove it, like they can prove the fact that they own a big business, and I interview them on the YouTube, um, you guys think that that would be like something that you guys would be interested in terms of like watching those interviews of how they either how they built their business or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that.
Yes, a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, because I had that idea in my mind. I was like, okay, should I do? Is that the way I should do it? So if you guys like that, then that's the way I'll. Because right now the studio's almost set up, but the guy who's been helping me out with all the gear, camera gear, and everything, he had to move. Like he moved from one house to another, and so he put me on hold. But if that's what you guys like, then cool. Because I got some connections like older guys, just 50s, 60s, and like they got a lot of knowledge, man, and they got big businesses. Like some of the, I think the one guy I know, he has about 1,000 employees or something like that in Cali. And I mean, they'd be down to jump on an interview and just tell us exactly, how they did it. So I can rock with that.
Yeah, I got a suggestion. Suggestion. Hello.
Yeah.
You can you make like a video on showing how to like create a business? So I want to start a business, like construction business, but I don't know how to create like the LLC and all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, for construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I could put something up. Or man, I can maybe even talk to you directly, man.
All right. That's cool.
To yeah, I'll hit you up. After the call, and we'll find a time to. I'll give you some of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
steps.
yeah. That's cool, man.
Where are you from, man?
Thank you. Oh, I'm from Puebla, Mexico.
Cool, man. You're in Mexico right now?
No, no, no. I'm in Connecticut right now.
Connecticut? Man, está muy frío para allá, dude.
Yeah, nah, it's fucking hot over here. But yeah, yeah, I can just let me know, right, man?
Yeah, I'll hit you up. I'll send you a message through here to the Discord.
But, all right, thank you.
Yeah, man. Anybody else have any other comments or anything?
I don't have any other comments, but I guess introducing wise, it doesn't relate to the party, but yeah, my name is Esther. I'm from Miami. I'm 19. The main reason why I wanted to join FX was definitely just have more knowledge and financial literacy in general.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say from like experience, like seeing how much my parents had to go through because they didn't have that kind of background in financial literacy. And I think the big picture, my dad does have a construction company. I want to become a real estate agent. So definitely the big picture is hopefully just working with him and um, trying to do business like that,
Yeah.
and also just trying to get more knowledge to really help his business because I think he didn't really have the knowledge when it comes down to like running a business.
Yeah.
So just having a better knowledge with that in general.
Cool. What do you think are his main like his main struggles that you see?
Um, it's definitely I don't know how it is like in Texas and whatnot,
Hmm.
but definitely first of all, like employees, getting employees
Yeah.
who are willing to work because construction is, a very hard job. Not everyone's kind of willing to just, work in the sun all day.
Yeah.
Um, he's mostly like a subcontractor right now, but I guess getting like jobs apart from like, being a subcontractor and getting more main jobs that can hopefully provide more income. So I would say things like that and just knowing how to really like I guess run a successful business.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
definitely know like it takes other like aspects as well. But I mean like I guess it's like where do you start?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, for example, my dad, he still works with us at Econ Granite. He mainly manages like the shop, and I have to take care of all of the, like you're saying, all the business stuff. Because, sometimes, whenever, in my dad's case, he was so used to working because he worked for like over 20, maybe 20 years for somebody else, that he wasn't used to running a business. So like, yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it. On the hiring side in construction, I would say just like stay away from like Indeed, stay away from recruiters. With La Raza, really comes down to building a good team and like treating them right, like pay them, good amount, treat them right, but then also at the same time is like be strict enough with them so they're showing up on time, and make things as simple as possible for them. So like, for example, there's a lot of things that where a construction business can lose money, but a lot of the times the people in the field, they don't know that. So you have to design all these little things like processes. For example, for us, we use like tablets, and the people that go out and estimate jobs, that tablet pretty much does everything already for them. So just kind of things like that that really help them. Like, I guess it's easy for them and it helps the business at the same time. But I was kind of in a
Yeah.
similar situation to you, just with having to help my dad a lot with because on the business side, I mean, doesn't matter how I mean, after years of trying, doesn't matter how I say some things, they just don't go through. So
Right. And that's the thing cuz like he has over like what 35 years of experience. He focuses on drywall.
yeah.
And so like he knows how to work this and he's been running the business, I want to say, but again it's just like I guess it's just because he doesn't really know where to start. It's very much like it could definitely like just get improvement and like be run more successfully in so many other aspects. And yeah, it's just that.
But I think that's a good path that you're taking with the real estate, because if you go down that path, then real estate and construction, there's a lot of opportunities with those together.
The bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what I want to do. I think a question I do have, because I mean, they're saying that there might be like an inflation again happening and whatnot, and I guess like the biggest thing is like, well, at least when I was talking to my dad about it, he's just saying how prices for materials are raising,
Yeah.
and how it's probably gonna be harder to like find jobs because obviously if materials are raising, you're probably gonna have to raise your prices up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how would you? I mean, do you have any tips for that? I guess.
Yeah. So it's kind of twofold. So with your business, you need different types of customers. So because inflation impacts a different customer differently. Like for example, we do luxury residential jobs where they don't care how high the price is. These people have so much money that they want the work installed. So about 75% of our income is luxury residential. But then the other 25% is commercial, where these guys are, everything's about the money. If the money's not right, they're just not buying it. So inflation impacts different customer segments differently. So if your dad's business is really like heavily reliant on just commercial jobs, then in inflation, inflation may impact his business a lot more. So if he wants, he could start finding a way to like diversify the income of the business, maybe going for like luxury residential, just having different types of customers, because inflation is happening, and I mean we've seen it with the material like you're talking about. So it's going to happen, and you just have to be prepared from a business standpoint. And also if he has lines of credit, or ways to access cash, so in case his the business does have like.
You're cutting off a little bit.
Okay, yeah, can you hear me?
No, it's still kind of cutting off. I don't know if it's from my end.
What about now?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit better now.
Okay, cool. So what I was saying is also like having cash, like save up as much cash as you can, just in case, like for 8 months or like a year, there is some kind of like economic thing going on, that his business doesn't go under, so that he can kind of float through the storm, and then just pick up business right back where he left off. So sometimes, having like a line of credit or just cash reserves, then that helps too. But did you hear the part about the different customers?
I did hear that part. I was gonna say, because I mean, he is a subcontractor, and a lot of the jobs that he does have are through bigger companies. And I've told him, like, trying to kind of, like I think you were saying earlier, trying to expand who do you work with? Because I think it is definitely true that he would probably get more if he like worked directly with more luxury. I think you said luxury
Yeah, like luxury homeowners.
people.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So yeah, I mean that's something
Yeah.
that he could try for sure.
Yeah. I mean, thanks.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm about to jump off, but next week we'll continue kind of with the lessons. Um, in the meantime, if you guys have any questions or anything, just like jump on the chat. And yeah, gonna try to get the YouTube stuff going. That way I can start, interviewing some of these older Latinos, see how they did it. But aside from that, guys, it's good talking to you guys and good meeting some of y'all. And hopefully I'll see y'all next week.